Though that's definitely not how you want to, end your series, especially game 7 coming out that flat and playing so poorly while the other team is basically firing on all cylinders. You have to look at things holistically for Denver this year. And first and foremost, I'm not even looking at the fact that they fired Mike Malone or Michael Malone. I know he doesn't like being called Mike. I'm close with him like that. And your GM as well. So, things are in disarray. But even more importantly than that, Michael Porter Jr. is severely hurt before the OKC series. They still win the Clippers series, a hard fought one at that. And Aaron Gordon gets hurt in game 6. You still win that game. And, Gordon still plays well in game 7, although basically no one else did. For the regular season, to be pretty brief with it, it was not too eventful aside from the coaching and GM situation. They were expected to have, I believe, 51 and a half wins was their over under. They went just ever so slightly under at 50, not 50 and a half. I don't know why I almost said that. And, against good teams, they were pretty solid. They were 10th in point differential per 100 versus top 10 teams in point differential. Very solid offense, not so good defense, but they showed that they don't need the reps in the regular season to have a good defense. They can do it come playoff time, just like a flick of the switch. So that was good to see. Their defense was as strong as it was throughout the playoffs because it wasn't a strength for the regular season, and it doesn't really project as a strength necessarily with them having Jokic being a key piece of the defensive puzzle. He's not as bad as some people would have you believe, but he's not a stopper by any stretch of the imagination. So coming in against OKC, the expectation was not very good. I think basically everybody expected the Thunder to win. And I don't think that was necessarily disrespectful to Denver. I think it was sometimes when people were like, oh, they'll win in 5, no problem. Even with the Thunder having the rest advantage and the depth advantage, and arguably just the skill advantage, I thought that Denver was going to put up some sort of fight. So I wasn't too surprised to see that, but were some people that thought OKC was going to win no problem, which definitely didn't end up being the case. And this is a historic Thunder team. Obviously, they're still a little bit young and unproven in the playoffs, so it's not as much of a guarantee as it would be for some other great teams throughout history. The fact of the matter is they have one of the best regular seasons of all time. Their point differential, insane, one of the best defenses ever across any era. They would give anybody trouble ever. And, they also have arguably the best player in the league right now in Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. So to take them to the limit, take them to 7, I know game 7 wasn't close, but to take them to a game 7, especially while injured, that's really impressive. For the regular season, I give it like an A minus. I don't think there was anything there that was super impressive, but they did have high standards and they lived up to them pretty solidly, I would say. For the playoffs, beating the Clippers, a healthy Clippers team, not a small task. So doing that in 7 is impressive, especially a lot of the games were just all over the place. So they showed a good ability to win basically across the board, no matter the situation. And of course, for the main entree being the Thunder, the competition was just so fierce. Jokic, he lived up to his status as being the best or at worst second best player in the league. He didn't do anything to fall off of that mantle, I don't think, because the Thunder, for having a historic defense and throwing everything at him, playing Caruso on him, Hartenstein, Chet, Chet as like a helper off of Caruso and Hartenstein at times, throwing so many different looks at him. He still was great. He had a very good series. Didn't have a good game 7, but was great throughout. And, you're getting the best punch from OKC insofar as Shea was at his best as well. It was a very good series. He had 35 points in game 7 on 63% field goal percentage. That's hard to beat. That's not, of course, the only reason they lost. They lost because they themselves didn't play well either. But, it's hard to beat OKC when Shea's like that. And especially Jalen Williams, too. He had an awful series. So props to the Thunder for, weathering that. But also props to the Nuggets for making things difficult on Jalen Williams. There were definitely a lot of looks that he should have made that he didn't throughout. But, all around solid stuff aside from with Jalen Williams. That Jalen Williams, he did not play well at all. He was awful. But in game 7, he showed up to play. And if you get good Shea and good Jalen Williams in the same game, there aren't many teams in history that are going to consistently win against this Thunder team. So with Williams being efficient, getting 24 points on about 60% field goal percentage, that's really hard to go against as well. Jamal Murray, this is where things get a little bit wonky because he was okay in this series. I saw some people that were really giving him some flowers, and I just didn't really understand it because I thought he was just fine. He does have a somewhat cult following for the level of player he is, though, so I'm not too surprised, I guess. He was just okay. He was really bad in game 7, so that hurt the Nuggets' chances. But, so too did Jokic only getting like 9 shots. So there was a lot of things not great for the Nuggets in game 7, but overall the series was pretty promising in the playoffs as a whole, obviously considering they beat the Clippers. Christian Brown, he had a poor series as well, but he had moments of being good. Game 7 was oddly enough a moment that was good for him. 19 points on 50% field goal, that's good. Gordon, really good series overall. He played through the injury quite well, I think. Only 8 points, but was efficient, still played defense, was rebounding like champ. Really solid stuff from him. I don't think he was at all to blame. And as for people that were to blame, you have Murray, of course, didn't really show up like a number 2 should. Michael Porter Jr., yes, he was injured, but this was a very, very bad series for him. Very bad game 7 as well. Russell Westbrook, great in the regular season, really delivered some value to them for the price he was getting paid, but just absolutely atrocious come playoff time, particularly in this series. When you're being left completely open for shots and you're still super inefficient, that's really problematic. So I think getting off of Westbrook, or at the very least making it an emphasis, a great emphasis, to make him not be a key rotational guy moving forward, I think that's got to be the move for the Nuggets. As for the postseason, I would give them an A grade. I think they did better in the playoffs than they did in the regular season, especially considering the turmoil of coach and even general manager. I know they don't really impact the game quite the same as a coach, but they were really in flux transitioning for, the future with getting rid of Malone as opposed to being in contention for right now with a move like that. So I think that the fact that they were able to hold it together, win a series against a good Clippers team, put up about as good of a fight I think as anybody will put up against OKC this year, and take them to 7. I think that's worthy of an A. The only thing that makes it not an A plus is you do want some better showings from people like Brown and Murray. Porter Jr. I do kind of look the other way because he was hurt, but it does go to show the warts that they had were real. Chiefly, no bench. Westbrook being the lead guy there is just very problematic, especially come playoff time. So there were definitely some things that made it imperfect, but I think it was definitely better than the regular season for them. So those are my thoughts on the 2025 Denver Nuggets. Be sure to let me know what yours are in the comment section. And also be sure to like and subscribe for more basketball and football content.